No, see, okay, the way I did this is kind of beautiful, and it did line up pretty well to how I had written it down. This is day 7, and this one is no judgment, and that's actually fire. And I want to explain this because I feel like people miss this, and this will give you some insight to me while I kick up my legs and explain this one to you. No judgment. Let's just get right in. I hope you're enjoying the series. Go back to episode 1 and watch it if you haven't. Other than that, I just want to kick it off. Let's go. No judgment. This one I want to compile in this one, not holding grudges against anyone either. Don't hold grudges for people who leave your life. Don't hold grudges for your parents, maybe things that you've gone through in your past. Don't hold grudges for anyone. And that also ties into the whole no judgment thing. You can't ever feel any judgment for where someone is at their point in life. And this kind of ties into the self-empowerment and authenticity days. I'm saying one, but I can call them days now. I don't know. I knew that. I don't know why I wasn't calling them days. But the thing is what I've seen from judging things, and this is actually one I could really speak on because when I was younger, I was very judgmental. I'm going to be vulnerable about that for a second. I'm going to tell y'all the story, so stay for the story and then stay for the after, because I'm going to preface this, so don't lie that I didn't preface this before I went into the story. Gotta be more specific these days, or you can find yourself in some stuff. So I'm going to say right now, this story's going to be a little bit deep. It's I've told it before in videos I've done on other channels, but I'm going to really try to sum it up really quickly. So when I was younger, I judged adults a lot because of my little abuse story. I thought a lot of them were manipulative, conniving, and everything, so I became exactly what that was. I'm very, very cunning, very manipulative, but not in a narcissistic way where I need your energy or you need to favor me. So honestly, it's funny. Narcissist has only become like a part of my vocabulary as of recent, the last 2 years. I never heard anyone really talk about that or say it, so it's very funny. But I became very smart and very manipulative from a young age because I was acting out of survival, that I had to protect myself, that you can't trust adults. I had to become very smart above a lot of my peers. So when it comes to judgment, one of the things is that just believing that people were dumb below me a lot, that I was way ahead of my time, that I knew everything, know it all. And again, another judgment that came was, it's hard for me to say because I feel bad, but sometimes it's still becoming true to this day, is biggest judgment is on black people. So I went to mostly white schools. They were pretty diverse, but my judgment came from on to very ghetto, like what I was perceiving as ghetto black people. And this just grew. And I remember my grandma would she loves hearing this story and seeing my growth because it was so beautiful to her because of the intention. But my grandma is a white Italian woman, and we were in the mall one day back in my old hometown, and I remember just seeing these dudes creating a ruckus in a Wendy's at the worker who's just coming to get a salary. And I remember saying to her, like, kind of keeping her closer, like puffing up my chest, though I was like tiny, I was a kid, puffing up my chest because I felt like I had to protect her because the behavior of them, right? And they, of course, what can you guess? They were wearing all red because we love crayons in the black community. No diss to anyone in those factions. I just mean to wake up and really look at what we're doing to one another. And that's what soon my knowledge turned into wisdom. But before, it was really this disdain for my own kind. Like, this is how we go out in public. And to me, like, I literally was joked about like that I'm either so white, not black enough, that I got that from. So that was my judgment. But I noticed that all those judgments I had and everything back then, they were creating a ruckus and just being disrespectful. And I shouldn't have really just associated it with color, but so many people do. That was my environment. So I was just like, oh, black people are like this? Well, I need to definitely be the opposite. And I honestly think that is just part of my soul anyways, because when I started to grow up, it started to fall off very quickly anyways. But as I started to get older, I realized just like, I felt like every time I judged someone or was placing judgment on someone, it felt bitter. It like left a nasty taste in my mouth that every time I looked at these groups of people, I didn't even know, like, ooh, it's going to be a dark one, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. It stopped my preference from dating black girls too. That I thought they were just hood, just this, all the black trauma that they like to post on TV and try to program us with, like MTV. I just was just disgusted in my own kind. I was like, this shit is very sad. Then come to find out other things as I got older, that like Haitians and other types of black people keep their accent because they don't want to be associated with American blacks. And that's just like a hard pill that everyone has to swallow. So now with all that story out of the way and being really vulnerable, I don't like telling that story because I look at that aspect of myself as, because I don't look at people like that now. It's more like, or my kind, because it's like brothers. But from a lot of my experiences that started to take shape, is a lot of my problems that I've had in school were with other black people, were with it, and it was just like, bro, it's just like our own kind hates our own kind, or we've been programmed to do that. So, dude, it's just that's just the reality of it for me and what I went through to, I guess, be a part of understanding true unity, that these people are not, it's not their fault. They have certain circumstances that they were put in, that they may have been grown up in and been basically brought up in the same environment that I've been around too, and that we've all come from different places that have led them to be this. And that's why I say I'm definitely 100% qualified to talk about these things, because I've experienced it. I've been through it myself, and I had to remove these sorts of things from my aura and just realize that people are people, man. And through what different people go through, it's like blah. And for me, I went through this experience as no one is your friend, because I also got the very racist white stuff that has happened, where it's like I've been called the N-word, I've been told for someone to keep their kids away from me, just everything. So, and it's just I have such a range of emotions a range of experiences that definitely had some emotion in it, that led me to where I am now. And through all of these events, I've been very unreactive, and that's like at least outwardly reactive to people. But that's why I teach this and feel like I am teaching. But let's just say I'm just sharing. If you pick it up or don't, that's on you. But that's why I say, like, don't judge people. You never really know what's going on in someone's life. And recently, this also was a thing that happened where I was giving insight because my intention was helping. I was coming from a separated view, but the person really thought that I was just judging them. So there's even moments like that where it's just like, maybe it's just better not to ever speak on anyone's situation or, to what they got going on in their life, unless you're really coming from a really separated point and you really make that clear, where this is not ego, this is not me trying to tell you what I think you got going wrong or whatever in your life, unless you're paying someone to be like an advisor in your life, whatever, like counselor or whatever, to really advise your life. But it's just better to avoid judgment altogether, because it does leave a nasty taste on your heart, your mind. And I guess that's why I just evolved so fast when I was younger, because I didn't like how I felt. You know how that there's that joke about like white people cross the street when they see a black person. Man, I was crossing the street when I seen the black person. I became white. But yeah, and it's fucked up, and now I don't care. And yeah, and I guess that perspective helped me because I was never afraid of cops. So yeah, but that's a very real thing. Like, lie to the cops, make sure you know your thing. These are very real things that you grow up around when you're this complexion. So it's just sad, man. Unity needs to really be more about not judging one another. And even if there is judgments, don't let the judgments become or dictate your actions. So it's like, even if I felt like that towards other black people, I didn't go out and verbally announce this and do it, do anything about it. And I feel like for some people that does create careers or paths they go in their life to do. But, for me, it was just like avoid at all costs, live to be the opposite of that. But honestly, I was already living opposite of that because naturally I just felt smarter than anyone. So that's a different thing. That's a different judgment. I had judgment stacked on judgment. But those are the biggest things that I could go back and say if I really wanted to tweak my path. But then I wouldn't be who I am sitting here talking to you if I would have had it figured out like already back then. It may be, possibly. It would probably sound different. It'd be like a different thing, maybe a sooner time, whatever. But, it would definitely be from a way different perspective that I figured it out younger, which I did figure it out younger, but it was much older than maybe I would have liked, really to see that just the way we've all been brought up in this world. We've all been lied to seriously about how this whole thing works, about how energy works, culture, all of it. I feel like a lot of it is just distraction, and you need to come down to the core principles of what it is to just to act as a human, a decent one. Because again, people don't like that I share this perspective, and I'm saying that people don't like it because I remember where somebody sent me a video to break down about the inside the psyche of psychopaths and stuff, and I said I could understand where they're coming from, and that made certain people, I don't think they were actually the people who watched me though, lose their minds and say I had a bunch of bad takes. But you just have to understand and accept the reality that there's danger in this world. That's just what it is. You don't have to focus on it, and it doesn't have to be a part of your reality, but you have to always remain cautious that you never know if it could be you. So I'm just saying, be on your guard, right? But because I say that to go back to the whole no judgment thing, where it's just like people have these perspectives. Some people are very vicious monsters out there that are just waiting to pop, and just don't be one of them. But I'm also saying that I can understand, because in this reality we're in, everything exists. You need to see this stuff, but most of it is a distraction, and that's what we're going to get into for the next one. So I can't wait for that one. But this one's serious, like a serious topic to me, with no judgment, because it's just like and I always treated the things where I've been judged in situations because of what I've done. So I've always taken it and moved on, and I don't have regrets. Like anytime I get judged, I understand it. I'm just like, and that's why I never had a problem with white people like maybe following me in a store. It felt awkward, it was frustrating, but never felt deeply like I'm gonna lash out. But I understand it because I'm like, damn, we've been programmed. So I can't really judge people for how they view it. It's just like, it is what it is, man. And that's such a real thing. It is what it is. But I really tell you to not judge where someone is at in their path, because either you were once there, or you had something similar, or you're just like them, brought up in a system where the system is built to be like this, and not separated in a good way. I'll say separated under the guise of mofos, separated under the guise of separated under the disguise that the people who control the narrative put out. So yeah, with that said, man, that is judgment for you. Really be careful on judging things or casting judgment, because at the end of the day, what I realized truly, and I think is a good wrap up to the video, is I was the one that was not sick in the head. We don't got to be dramatic, but I was the one who was truly the worst person in the scenario, where I was just condemning a whole race because of certain experiences I saw. Can't do that. And it really does make me sick sometimes. but I make sure that I keep my emotions out of it. When I see people online see someone stealing, right, and it's very clearly like, if you look and it's very clearly not a black person, and they go, oh, the usual suspects, oh, the this, because on the internet it's so easy to talk tough. But I'm just like, it's just sad. Like, to me, that kind of shows the people that are never going to get far or ascend if it literally, unless everyone just thinks they're a comedian online but doesn't do it for a job. It's just funny when people make those comments, but they're not actually an entertainer. It's just like, yeah, you're just showing how you actually think. The usual suspects of this. So, I definitely, my heart is in a lot of black people who do live that lifestyle, or maybe live in the rough, tough, the city. I grew up in the street type of stuff. It's like, damn, now I feel passionate for that. But I still do, there's still that bias in me that just knows a lot of this is a choice though. A lot of stuff is sometimes a choice. Maybe sometimes you get thrown into life, but I feel like you always have a choice. But I will never judge, at that. And I catch myself still today. I'm not going to act like I'm 100% perfect. But it definitely is way down nowadays. But yeah, man, it was bad at first. Anyways, love you guys. Stay up, and I'll see you in the next day. Peace.
Hey, there's nothing more for you here. This is the end of the video. Now, you can either subscribe, or you can leave, or you can stay and subscribe. Or this will be the last time we meet, or maybe not. Maybe we're meeting again. Maybe you just decided to let the video play all the way through. Maybe I don't want to think about that. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out of here.